Hello and welcome. In this video, I would like to share with you the real secret to happiness. And no, this is not a sales pitch. This is going to be a deep and thorough conversation that may not be the most comfortable or convenient conversation, but I think it's necessary. Because in this day and age, so many people not only feel unhappy, unfulfilled, unsatisfied, but so many, dare I say, most people actually feel broken, not enough, lost, confused. And most people don't actually like themselves. And is that because they are broken? No, absolutely not. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not crazy. There is nothing wrong with you. What is wrong is the belief system that you might have bought into unconsciously a long time ago, which is causing you to now be convinced that no matter how much you achieve, no matter how much stuff you have, no matter how many titles you have received, no matter how bedazzled your LinkedIn profile looks like, no matter how many children you have, no matter what rank you have achieved, no matter the status, the power, the money, the finances, the boats, the none of that has filled this void of deep unhappiness, unfulfillment, feeling not good enough. Hmm. Interesting, isn't it? Because logically, it should have worked. Logically, you literally checked off all the boxes. You did all the things they told you to do so that you can be happy and healthy and wealthy and wise, except it didn't work. So, this is what I want to talk to you about today because number one, you deserve to have this information. Number two, real happiness is absolutely achievable when you understand really the secret to this. And okay, let me just give you my perspective. As a hypnotherapist, not only do I get my clients real results, that means rapid and lasting change, but real breakthroughs. Now, what does that mean? That means that they finally get to a place in their life where they can actually have real, not fake, real self confidence, self esteem, self worth, inner peace, where they can feel good about who they actually are and appreciate themselves in a different light, in a better light. Does that make sense? And that is often the thing that prevents people from feeling a sense of joy. Because again, most people do not feel safe. There's all this fear and shame and anxiety and guilt. So let's go back to the beginning because I want to show you and share with you how that develops in a human being, where that comes from, so that you can understand number one, this is not your fault. Okay, you didn't do this, but you get to fix it if you want to. You get to change it if you want to, which is, from my perspective, the best news I can give you. Because the process that I share with my clients is obviously natural. And ultimately, the way I work with hypnotherapy, the point is to help you tap into your own resources, into your own power, into your own gifts and talents so that you can get to the other side of that. So it's not me doing or saying something magical that will somehow magically help you transform. No, you are the one who already has the answers inside of you. So, but before we go forward, we got to go back to help you understand what actually happened. Um, so, let's go back to um, Give me a moment here. First 7 to 12 years of your life, okay, is when we all get programmed. Meaning, as a child, okay, a child's role in this lifetime is to obey, conform, perform, right? You literally, as a child, you have to, whether you like it or not, you have to become a chameleon. You have to adapt to your environment. You have to learn what's right, what's wrong, how should I be, how should I not be, and let's not forget, and you have to ask permission. Like everything you do is permission based, okay? You're still with me? Perform, conform, obey, seek permission. Most children sort of grow up in a children are seen, not heard kind of mentality. In other words, children are typically ridiculed, dismissed, not felt very important, made important, right? Their opinion typically doesn't matter all that much. God forbid a child gets too emotional. No, that's not convenient. They're sent to their room. Now, again, I'm not criticizing parents or priests or that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to show you, what do you think, years and years and years. And hold on. I'm not even going to talk about trauma and chaos in a household. Like, that's a whole other story. I mean, that's an obvious one, okay? That's an obvious one. When a child learns about the chaos in a relationship, about, feeling like a burden because the family didn't have the finances, feeling like, constantly compared to siblings. We're not even getting into that all that deeply. But let's just take education as an example. Think about what something like this may cause when a child goes to school every single day dutifully, right? So that we can all become great factory workers. And now the child gets compared to other children constantly and consistently. Then a teacher will eventually make the statement whether you are smart enough or not. Yeah, the teacher gets to call that. And then, of course, you get a grade. And that grade, right? First, we grade people, but then we weigh people. Like, literally, we put people on a scale. Like, it just gets worse. Anyhow, and that's just the first couple of years of your life. You constantly being compared to other people. You get the grade, whether you qualify or not qualify as a human being, as a smart, intelligent human being. And again, this is not about you learning about your own gifts, skills, and talents. No, 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 no. You have to be like everybody. You got to fit into that box, So, are you following me? So, what do you think? Just pause. What do you think something like this will cause in a human being? In a child that then becomes an adult. Well, now we have conditioned a human being, because we all have been programmed, good, bad, or ugly. Now we have conditioned this human being very thoroughly, congruently, and deeply with, now this kid is constantly being corrected, reprimanded, compared, and the child eventually, and by the way, this doesn't just stay in memory. This becomes the operating system in a person. Now remember, unconsciously, because we just automatically obeyed. We wanted, we as a child, you seek approval. You need to know that you can survive. So you will bend over backwards just to fit into the family household, just to fit into the structure. A child is literally one of the most intelligent, creative, powerful creatures on the planet, because a child is relentless in the pursuit of, I just want approval, I just want validation, I want to get the good grade, I want to get the praise. And a child will do anything. But of course, none of those things are real. That's not unconditional. That is conditional. As long as you fit into that box, as long as you make us proud, and we didn't even get into all the unspoken rules that often happen in a household, where as long as you take over the family business, as long as you make us proud, as long as you follow that religion, as long as you say your prayers, as long as you just obey, then there's going to be peace. Which, again, it's it's quite interesting because guess what? What that ultimately causes in an adult or in a child, actually, it will despirit you. The little person eventually has to, okay? They have to betray themselves, abandon themselves, um, depress themselves. Hmm? And do you know how many people as adults tell me, Susan, I don't even know who I am anymore? Mm-hmm. That's a very healthy distinction. Very smart. How could you possibly know who you are if you never had permission to even be who you really are and you had to perform for all these people? So that's a really healthy conclusion, which then, of course, eventually all these, a child will personalize, internalize, and a child eventually will start to believe, I am not good enough. I'm not safe in this world. I'm not smart enough. I am not lovable enough. There's something wrong with me. My parents want me to be more like my brother. You know, I got the bad grade, which means I'm stupid. My teacher told me you will never amount to anything. Who knows what the parents even modeled? And that eventually stamp, you're not good enough. So now the adult lives in a perpetual state of shame, fear, anxiety, and sure, depression. Oh, and let's not forget burnout. Burnout. Burnout doesn't come from you have too much on your plate. You have too much work, too much stress that you can't handle. That's not burnout. Mm-mm. It's impossible. Like you literally, your resources, your power, your resilience, your tenacity, your energy is, your potential is limitless. What's going on, however, is if you are constantly as a child kind of covertly or overtly being told you're not good enough, then you get into that survival mode, survival program. But that is not, staying stuck in that is not what's going to help you as an adult get into the Thrive program. So, for people who try to convince me there's something wrong with me, I have this constant anxiety, when is the other shoe going to drop? Or this is just a calm before the storm, or no matter what, I can't relax, or no matter how many achievements I never feel enough. This is why. Has nothing to do with you. It has all to do with this conditioning that happened to all of us. And for some people, much, much worse. For some people, less. But it happened to all of us. And this is what causes for adults to then be labeled and diagnosed, and even as children with ADD, ADHD, anxiety, like all these diagnoses and labels, in my opinion, are very conveniently and irresponsibly given to people, when actually the conversation should be not what's wrong with you, but what happened to you. And when I get to have these deep, sincere conversations with my clients in my one-on-one sessions, and I get to listen to their stories, and then I show them, like, well, are you surprised? Like, how do you expect to be confident? How do you expect to have self-love? How do you expect to have a strong self-esteem if that has been beaten out of you from day one? You were born with self-confidence. That was shamed out of you. You were born relentless, taught to relent. Surprise, there's more. You were born with greatness, taught to shrink and to play small. Catching on? So there's nothing wrong with you. There's everything right with you. What is wrong is that you have not yet given yourself permission to be who you are. The audacity, which, by the way, just heads up, heads up, heads up. I promise you, here's the inconvenient truth about it. To be the real you is going to require a different level of you. It's going to require courage like you have never had in your life, because that real you might just rub certain people the wrong way. You know what I mean? Because that real you might actually dim their light. It might actually call out their insecurities and flaws. Because remember, most people okay, feel not good enough. They feel broken. They feel lost. They don't love themselves. Why? Because they haven't done this work yet. Every human being has the potential to do this, to get to the other side, to replace childhood programming with adult programming. Again, that takes a different level because childhood programming: obey, conform, perform, and seek permission. As an adult, if you continue running this program the way it is, constantly seeking permission, oh, what if people like me? What if they don't like me? Oh my God, what if they reject me? Oh, what if I make a mistake? What if I humiliate? Literally, that's the fear, shame, guilt, and blame and anxiety running the show. That's survival program. So here's your homework, should you be open to it. And by the way, this is also why no amount of title, no amount of money, no amount of trophy wife, no amount of relationships, no amount of power, status, beauty, achievements will fill that. Cannot happen. The only thing that can fill this void, that can fill this deep sense of unhappiness is you. When you get to actually ask yourself, and this is the big homework that I have for you, should you be open to it. You were born and bred to live life on other people's terms, conditions, standards, definitions of success, okay? And as a child, you didn't have a choice just so that you could survive. You had to go along with the program for good or bad or ugly. Yes, that includes religion, that includes politician, that includes beauty standards, that includes fashion trends, that includes politics, that it just includes everything. Literally, these systems are everywhere. Why do you think so many of these systems thrive? Like in this day and age, we should be ashamed of ourselves for aging. We should be ashamed, right? And so of course we have a solution for that. It's called all these gizmos and gadgets from the beauty industry, from Botox to the pills to the potions to the lotions to who knows what else. And yeah, because they feed on our insecurity. They don't have our best interest at heart. They feed on our shame, our fear, our blame, our and it just this has been going on for a long time. But and this is what allows these industries to control people. Because if I get triggered by somebody shaming me for getting older or having wrinkles, and I get triggered by that, of course I'm gonna buy that beauty product even though I can't afford it. I'm gonna buy that brand because oh, I want people to approve of me. I want to look good, which the truth is nobody really gives a crap. So the big question you can ask yourself if you want to, and if you can do this from a place of compassion and care for yourself and curiosity and genuine interest, is what would my life look like if I gave myself permission to live on my terms, conditions, standards, definitions of success? What would that even look like if I no longer was constantly looking for other people's approval, what they think of me or don't think of me, comparing yourself to other people all the time, how you might fit in or don't fit in, how maybe you're too bright, maybe you're too this. If you could stop all of that and begin to actually become curious about yourself, what you might find. And maybe this little conversation today even triggered you to realize, looking into your childhood and realizing, wow, notice what your childhood caused for you. So again, there's nothing wrong with you. The question should be, what happened to you? And let's start the conversation there. But this time, you're not going to let those people tell you whether you're good enough or not. You're no longer going to let life, circumstances, stories, history tell you. You know, it just as a general idea, okay? Think about how distorted and unhuman it is to put a child into a school and expect a human being to have perfect grades in every single category. That is ridiculous. When the truth is, every single human being has a certain special gift. Okay? For some people, it's their voice. For some people, it's um, they're mechanically really good. For other people, it's they are fast readers. Listen, and for that matter, we're not supposed to be good at everything. That is, and it started there. I mean, it started obviously even in the household, but as on a stage performance level. Think about what something like this will cause. If you're the kid who gets the bad grade in art, or maybe you happen to be a clumsy person who's not great at sports, which again, remember, sports is not where your superpower is. Not a problem. Because your superpower might be you are an incredible performer. You belong on stage somewhere. Again, I'm just so when you start to realize what actually happened to you and how we all automatically bought into the program on how we should be and how we're not good enough and how we should listen to authority figures and all the different rules and expectations and corrections that have been placed upon us, what we should believe and why and how we should just follow the program. We could go on and on and on, but you as an adult today, hopefully, if you're an independent person, where that means you no longer depend on the people that raised you or anybody else, hopefully, if you're in a position where you now as an adult get to take care of yourself, hopefully you can ask yourself these questions, because once you answer these questions, you will begin at least turning the page and be like, hey, you know what? There are certain programs I actually don't want to subscribe to them anymore because they're costing me. They're costing me I abandoned myself for that. I compromised myself for that. I put myself last for that. And I'm not going to do that anymore because this is your life. And I can't tell you how many adults have I had conversations with, sessions with, that they are shaking in their boots because they don't want their parents to be disappointed in them. That's that again. They're living their life to please their parents. Can you like that's brainwashing. That's hypnosis on steroids. And again, just FYI, it's not my job. I'm not here to tell people how they should or shouldn't live their life, what's right or wrong for them. As an adult, it's called free will. You get to call the shots. You get to make that decision. And when you finally do, I promise you, something inside of you will move. The earth will shake. You will literally, when you give yourself that kind of permission, that you no longer need approval, you no longer need validation. Oh, did you pass the test? Like, what kind of, I get it. We live in a world where certain things we can't just, yes, but there's a lot of wiggle room in that, and too many people have not given themselves permission for that wiggle room and accept really bad behavior from really bad people that tyrannize them. How's that word? That trigger them, that try to control them. The bullies, the narcissists, the manipulators. Well, yeah, why are these people able to get away with it? Easy, because we all grew up being programmed. So we all grew up actually being groomed as prey. That's why the predator has such an easy time. The hard part is turning all of that around. When you're an adult, you get to flip the script completely. No more obey, no more perform or conform or seek permission. You flip it and you realize, no, wait a minute, I am in control. I have the power here, which I know so many people are not. They're too afraid because society is really not going to like, yeah, there's a price to pay either way. Either way is going to be hard, guaranteed. You can either stay on the trajectory of agreeing posing for that childhood programming and making sure everybody else is happy, as long as you stand in line, as long as you conform, right? It's going to be hard because that means self-sacrifice. Eventually, that's going to lead to dis-ease, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual dis-ease. Or the other hard is going to be like, hey, you know what? This is my life. I get to choose which way do I want to go? What do I want to believe? What do I want to subscribe to? What would a great day in my life look like? What must be present in my life for me to be happy, for me to be fulfilled? And that, the hard about that, well, the great thing about that, that is what's going to give you ultimate fulfillment and joy and happiness, promised and guaranteed. And there's a but and an and to that. And some people are really not going to like that. That's just part of life. Because all of a sudden, you're no longer the convenience for them. You no longer are the one that they can just automatically count on, even though they don't really care for you all that much. You just happen to make the life very convenient. See that? So, should you want to dance out of the line, out of the thing, just accept there's going to be some resistance. But again, it really is. I'm a hypnotherapist. It's all about when we break out of the system, out of the mold, subliminally, we're actually inspiring other people. It's like when they see us, like we live in a monkey see, monkey do world, and everybody jumps off the bridge and nobody even asks, hey, why is grandma jumping off the bridge? Oh, I guess it's our religion, so let's jump off the bridge. Nobody asks question. The minute you ask a question, oh, your culture, yours, they're not gonna be happy. Just expect that. So you've got to make that decision before you do it. Can you hold your own space? Can you take a stand for yourself? Can you stand strong in that? Would you be willing? Because here's the deal. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to come to save you. Nobody's going to. So that's the inconvenient thing. So you have a choice. You can either go down childhood programming, keep things status quo the way they are. I promise you there's a price to pay for that because your subconscious is not going to put up with that. Or you can be like, hey, you know what? This is my life. One chance, one life, one mission, one passion, one purpose, and start to really investigate the real you. And remember, as a hypnotherapist, I don't just talk to your mind. I work with the part that controls your mind. And that's the difference that makes the difference. That's why traditional therapy and self development and self help and talking about your problems and reading books and listening to the apps and meditating and affirmations don't work. And there's a whole laundry list because none of those things yet talk to the part that controls your mind, which is your subconscious. We gotta start our work there if you want to see a change in your life. So I hope this helped somebody today. I hope this made sense. Um, just want to see any. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.